Hey, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. My name's Kevin. I'm an actor. There's a teacher who's here. Her name is Barbara Poitier. And she said to us at one point in time, everybody who became an actor became an actor because they got something to say.
That's very interesting. I never intellectualized it that way, but that is very true. For me, it has been to be that guy that does what people say can't be done, you know? And I think it started with trying to please my mother and trying to please my grandmother, and they always wanted higher for me. They always wanted more for me. And it got to the point that I wanted to be something. I wanted to be somebody. And it made me choose certain roles. It made me turn down certain roles. There is more than an image that I want to project. I want to be the person that is the first person there and the last person to leave. That's who I want to be, because I think that the road to success is through commitment and through the strength to drive through that commitment when it gets hard. And it is going to get hard, and you're going to want to quit sometimes, but it'll be colored by who you are and more who you want to be. I definitely found that wanting to be an actor stems from wanting to be somebody and wanting to say something to people. And I think that there's a certain delusional quality that all successful people have to have. You have to believe that something different than what has happened for the last 50 million years of history. You have to believe that something different can happen.
Yeah, it's almost a kind of innocence.
Absolutely.
In other words, if you knew how difficult it was,
right,
you would have never gone down that path.
Absolutely.
You know, if somebody had said to Ali, no one can beat this guy. He's this much stronger, he's this much bigger, he's got that much bigger punch than you do, and he believed that, he would have said, you got to have an innocence that somehow.
Absolutely.
You know,
I think that's a huge part of me, because, and I say to my friends all the time, and we laugh about it, I truly, honestly, as I sit here before you right now, as honestly as I can say it to you, I truly believe that I could be the president if I wanted to. And as bizarre as that may sound to people that have traveled the path before me and to people who actually know how difficult it is, foolish Will Smith honestly believes it's sitting here.
Well, what there is about that is a sense of the innocence about it, as well as a disarming honesty about it, if you say it that way. Now, here's what's interesting about you, is that there are people who have said that about you, too, who've been around you as a creative performer.
Absolutely.
Barry Sonnenfeld, I think it was, you know, did you work with him, or he was involved in this somehow? Said something like that if Will Smith decided he wanted to go into politics, I'd be there to help him by making commercials, whatever I could do within my own talent.
How much does fear play into preventing us from grasping perspective, though?
Oh no, fear is everything. Yeah, like if there was one concept that I would suggest to people to take a daily confrontation with, is fear. The problem with fear is that it lies, right? So fear tells you, hey, you know, if you say that to that girl, she's going to know she has you, you know, and she'll never really be attracted to you if she knows how much you attracted to her. Don't say that. No, how we get her is when she walks by, ignore her.
Right, so
you know, it's like
pop it on your shoulder.
Fear tells you dumb shit like that, right? You know, so for me, the daily confrontation with fear has become a real practice for me since about three years ago. I went skydiving, in Dubai, right? And skydiving is a really interesting confront with fear, right? So I gotta stand up. I'm sorry, I gotta stand up. All right. So all your friends, what happens? You go out. I dropped my thing. Yeah. So what happens is you go out the night before, and you take a drink with your friends, and somebody says, "Yeah, we should go skydiving tomorrow." And you go, "Yeah, we'll go skydiving tomorrow." Yeah, and you go, "Yeah," and everybody goes, "Yeah," right? And you go home you by yourself. You're like, right? You're like, well, I mean, they was drunk too. Right, so maybe they not, maybe, I mean, we don't have to go, we don't have to do it. So then that night you're laying in your bed and you just keep, and you're terrified, you keep imagining over and over again jumping out of an airplane, and you can't figure out why you would do that, right? And you're laying there and you have the worst night's sleep of your life, but you still have the hope that your friends were drunk, right? So you wake up the next day and you go, down and you say where you were going to meet and everybody's there. You're like, oh, shit. All right, cool. Right? So you get in the van and you don't know that your friends had the same night that you had because they're pretending like they didn't. They're like, yeah, man, my uncle's a Navy SEAL and, this is going to be great. I've been looking forward to this. And you're like, oh, my God. And your stomach is terrible. You can't eat and everything, but you don't want to be the only punk who doesn't jump out of this airplane. So you get there, and then you have this safety brief. And you're standing there, and the guys will tell you, well, if the chute doesn't open, what's going to happen is why the hell, what could happen? That the chute wouldn't open, right? So you do a thing, and what you do is your first jump, you're attached to a guy who is going, he's going to walk you out. So you go, and you get there, and there's an airplane, and nobody's stopping. Everybody's still going. So you get onto the airplane, and you're sitting there, and it's extra because you're sitting on some dude's lap, some stranger. You're sitting on his lap, and it's like, you're trying to make small talk. Yeah, man. So you be jumping with people all the time, huh? Right? So, and then you just want to make sure, you got kids, right? You got people you need to see, right? You just want to make sure he's serious, right? So you get in there. So everything's normal. So you fly and you go up to 14,000 feet, and you notice there's a light. It's red and it's yellow and green, right? So right now the light's red. So then you start thinking at some point the light's going to go green, but you don't know what's going to happen, right? And you wait and it goes yellow and the light goes green and somebody opens the door, and in that moment you realize you've never been in a freaking airplane with the door open. Right? Terror. Oh, sorry, I'm spitting. I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. No, terror, right? So you go, and then if you were smart, you sat in the back so you don't go first, right? And then people start going out of the airplane. And you go, and the guy walks you up to the end of the thing, and you're standing, and your toes are on the edge, and you're looking out down to death. And they say, on 3. And they say, 1, 2, and he pushes you on 2 because people grab on 3, right? Right? And you go, and you fall out of the airplane, and in 1 second, you realize that it's the most blissful experience of your life. You're flying, right? It doesn't feel like falling, right? It's like you actually are kind of held a little bit by the wind, and then you start falling, and there's zero fear. You realize that the point of maximum danger is the point of minimum fear. It's bliss. It's bliss, and you're flying, right? And you're doing that, and then 20 seconds, 25 seconds, 40 seconds, and you have enough time to just kind of be like, oh, shit, that's that building. I like that one. Oh, you can see the ocean. Right? You start doing all of that, and the lesson for me was, why were you scared in your bed the night before? What do you need that fear for?
just don't go. Why are you scared in your bed 16 hours before you jump? Why are you scared in the car? Why could you not enjoy breakfast? What did you need? The fear is fear of what? You're nowhere even near the airplane. Everything up to the stepping out, there's actually no reason to be scared. It only just ruins your day. You don't have to jump. And then in that moment, all of a sudden, where you should be terrified is the most blissful experience of your life. And God placed the best things in life on the other side of terror. On the other side of your maximum fear are all of the best things in life. You know? Mm-hmm. So that was sorry. So that was,
no,
sorry.
It's good.
That was my experience with skydiving and fear.
All right.
Even with people who are evil, some will say he had so much talent. If that talent could have been redirected to something good. It is the idea, if you are given and you work hard, because there's nothing more apparent about Will Smith than how diligent and hard he works at being who you are. I mean, you appreciate the notion, it looks like to me from what I know about you, of understanding that you have to be prepared in order to maximize the possibilities of gifts, right?
Absolutely. And I believe, and I learned very young.
From parents?
From my parents, absolutely. That you don't try to build a wall. You don't set out to build a wall. You don't say, I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. There will not be one brick on the face of the earth that's going to be laid better than this brick that I'm going to lay in this next 10 minutes. And you do that every single day.
And soon you have a wall.
And soon you have a wall. And I think psychologically, the advantage that gives me over a lot of people that I have been in competition with in different situations is it's difficult to take the first step when you look how big the task is. The task is never huge to me. It's always one brick.
Me too. I mean, it's amazing how people are paralyzed from doing anything because they can't take the first step. Whereas you just say, look, all I'm doing is laying this one brick. I am not building the Great Wall of China here.
Absolutely.
I'm putting a brick here, and I'm going to have the best brick I can. Your father, I think I read.
Absolutely.
Had you and your brother work on a wall of some kind?
Yeah. We're talking about our figurative wall. That comes from work on a literal wall.
Yeah, right.
My father owned. It actually was an old bakery when I was growing up. My father was an electrician and a refrigeration man. We would install supermarkets. You see the long freezer cases in supermarkets. We would install those long freezer cases and all the lights. That's what we would do every summer. So this one year, my father had his shop, and he decided for whatever reason that he wanted a new wall on the front of his shop. So he tore down probably about 16 feet high and probably about 30 feet long. He just completely tore the wall down, and my brother and I had to dig a 6-foot hole.
For the foundation.
For the foundation. Right. We would mix in the concrete by hand. A year and a half. We were building this wall for a year and a half. Every day after school, we would come and mixing concrete, putting it in the hole, doing it. And it was just myself and my little brother. And I remember standing back, looking at that wall, saying, there's going to be a hole here forever. There will never be anything but a hole here.
That's right.
And a year and a half
I don't
later,
have that many days.
I know. A year and a half later, we laid the final brick, and my father stood back with my brother and I know he planned this. He says he didn't, but I know he had been planning this and writing this for his for the past 2 years. But we stood back, we looked at the wall, and he looked at me and my brother and said, "Don't y'all never tell me that you can't do something." And walked into the shop.
Go.
Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. can't hit the damn bridge. There we go. All right, here we go.
Jay!
Oh!
Dad! Love it, Dad!
There we go. All right, I'm ready.
Love it, Dad! Dad, love it! Yeah!
Oh, geez.
Stop, Dad! All right! Stop, Dad! I'm still going! I'm still going! I'm still going! I'm still going!
This opens May 31st.
I'm still coming! I'm still coming! I'm still coming! I'm still coming! I'm still coming!
Oh, son.
All right, we'll take a break. It was a close one.
It was really close.
Yeah,
It was really close.
Yeah.
He was right on my heels.
We'll be right back.